Hi, grandmother. How are you?
Hi, grandson. Fine, and you?
Fine too, thank you. Grandmother, do you remember the story, the legend about that girl that you were telling me the other time?
The one of the best?
Yes, that one.
Oh, yes. Do you want to hear it?
Yes, please.
Of course. Let me see. Here it is. Okay, take a seat because this is about the story.
It was a difficult time for Isadora, a 17-year-old girl who just lost her parents. She had to face life alone and look for a safe place. She entered in a silence mode since she noticed she had just lost the most important people in her life. She had only one uncle, her father's brother, and he wasn't able to take care of her, not even to give her lodging. So after the burial of her parents, she decided to look for alternatives, and some days later she decided she was going to ride the beast, because it was an opportunity for her to move to a better country and continue with her short life. It was better to ride the beast than to stay in Costa Rica with no family, no house, and no money, because her parents had to rent a house and she didn't have enough money to pay the rent for the next month. So she left the house and took the money she had to start a journey to the United States. The day finally arrived. She took everything she thought and she would need. She took the only 2 pairs of shoes she had, some clothes, a little amount of food, a bottle of water, and the most important thing, a medal of La Virgen de los Ángeles that their parents gave her when she was only 2 years old. At the beginning of her trip, she felt scared and lonely, and she found many people that were very different to her, people from different parts of Central America, like Nicaragua, El Salvador, Guatemala, and mainly from Honduras. But there were some men between 20 and 30 years old. Everything in the train was difficult. Get food, make friends, and even sleep, because in very single moment you could fall and overwhelmed by the same train. Furthermore, the people on the train were always stealing food and clothes because the hunger suffered on the train was extremely severe, as well as the cold during the nights. One day, when the train had finally arrived to the Mexican border, Isadora was very excited because there was missing the half of the trip. But when Mexican border officers checked everything was okay, the problem came. They started pulling down all the immigrants that were over the train. As soon as she watched this, she took her medal and started praying hide between the wagons. An officer passed very near from her, but he couldn't see her. Once all the immigrants got off the train, the border police let the train continue its trip. There were a lot of sad and disappointing moments when she was just sitting over the wagon seeing the beautiful landscapes that Central America has. In those moments, she started to remember how happy and easy was her life with her parents. Then she was sitting over one of the wagons of the beast, beside some weird people, and she thought they were consuming drugs, and in that moment she started to remember what had happened the night before her parents died. She had a nightmare that day. In her dreams, she was stoned, and she arrived home late around 4 a.m., and her mom was furious because she didn't get any permission from them. So Isadora was very angry and started shouting and throwing things to the floor, and she took out a gun that her father had in his drawer. Suddenly, a shout sounded, and Isadora woke up. She thought it was only a nightmare, but it wasn't. It was real. Days were passing, and that nightmare was following her in every second of her trip. She was getting crazy, and suddenly one day someone said that they were about to arrive to the United States, and when Isadora heard to that, the first thing she held was her medal of La Virgen de los Ángeles, and for a few seconds she wondered what would happen to her in the United States. After a few seconds, she jumped down, and she didn't survive. She died there, and no one knows what happened with her body. The only thing left there was her medal of La Virgen de los Ángeles. Some of the Central American people says that the soul of Isadora is still going around her, and she talks to the ones that ride the beast and make them stop their trip by jumping down like her.
And this is the end. What do you think about this legend, grandson?
Well, I think it was a freaky and interesting story.
Do you know what?
What?
Some years ago, I wrote the best. That's why I always find interesting to read this legend to my grandsons, because the soul of this girl is not just a story; it is real. I saw her, and I saw her medal.